Hi scrapbookers, this is Megan and I am back with a couple more December daily based page process videos. So for this one I'm working on day 11 and there were a couple cards that I pulled from, I think these were from Elle's Studio or possibly a Project Life Christmas kit. I can't really remember. And then the bird one was from the kit that I got from Jennifer, from the kit that I've been using. So it's the Hydrangea Hippo kit. So I'm just going to ink up all of the edges on these Project Life cards and stick them in this pocket page. So these are just the 3x4 pocket pages. And that bottom one under the birds, the blue and red paper with the birds on it, says all I want for Christmas. And that I am actually going to end up changing because I mess up on it and I forget about it. So yeah, that one is going to change by the end. I'm going to cut this ribbon, star ribbon down and seal the ends. I'm going to put it down there on the bottom. I'm also going to pull from my stash for this one. So I glue down the 11, the number 11 on that green Project Life card. And I had this green paper, and this is what's from my stash. So I'm going to cut a little banner out of this scrap, and I'm going to put it right there above the star ribbon. And I forgot to ink the edges on that banner, so I had to do it after the fact. It's a little bit harder that way. I would not suggest doing it that way. So now I'm all done and I'm going to put all of these back in there, except then I'm thinking I need to embellish a little bit more on these cards. So I pull off some of these stickers. There's two that look like buttons that are red that I put on there on that top left-hand card, and then there's a candy one that looks like a peppermint. So I put them all back in there, and then I think I'm going to pull them out because I'm going to decide to use the same papers or the same backgrounds. So I'm thinking I'm going to back this number 12 on this paper. So I go ahead and do that. And I'm not really sure where I want to go with this page. So I am just kind of fiddling around a little bit. I like the way that that paper looks. So I'm going to put that behind the 12. And then I'm thinking, hey, I really like it up there with that birch paper. So I'm going to pull that card down. And I thought that I cut out a separate piece of paper for that, but I guess I didn't. I just glued it on the back of the same one. So I'm just gluing everything down for that card. And then I'm going to pull a couple of stickers off of this sticker sheet just to kind of embellish that card a little bit. That one says friends on it. And then there were these cute little mittens. And so I was going to put them there, but then I thought, oh, that looks kind of funny. So I'm going to put one on each side. It gets a little bit tricky once you layer everything on these cards to put them back in. So I had some of these scrap pieces of paper. The blue one is from my stash, and then the one with the decoration, the like the doily kind of looking decorations on it was from the kit that I'm using. And I decided to play around with those and put those together on one. And so now I'm thinking I'm going to put them together just to make sure they don't move around from each other. And I'm going to cut the corners with my corner rounder. Oh, I guess I'm not going to use my corner rounder. I'm just using my scissors. And this is where I mess up because I'm going to pull out some embellishments in a second here after I get this all glued down. It was kind of lifting up and I didn't want it to do that. And so I'm liking the way that looks, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this, I'm not even sure what you call it, this wire red paper, or not paper, embellishment. And then I remember that we got this crepe paper, or I don't know what you call it. It's like the party decoration kind of paper. And so I'm like, oh, that'll look really cool. And I decide to hold it down by sewing it together. And then I'm going to realize, oh, dang it, I had that other card on the back. So I'm just off sewing that paper down to the card. Sorry, I guess that took a little while for me to get that done. So I am all done with my project, or not my project, well, I guess this is a project, but my December daily. And today is the 12th of January. I am hoping to get all of the voiceovers done this week so that I can get them all up and then show you the completed album next week, hopefully. So here I am. I am going to tape down that thread on there so that it won't come up or unravel over time. So that's what I'm doing with that. And then I think I'm going to show you how I messed up, but I'm not sure. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll put that there, but then I end up not really liking it and it covers the stitches. So I decide not to do that. Okay, from now on, I am not going to glue the papers together because of what I just did with those two cards. And so I'm cutting this one down to fit that pocket. And here I do use my Creative Memories corner puncher. And I'm thinking that I want to embellish that one paper that's on the bottom right a little bit more. Oh no, I decided to redo the back of it so that I would have a card for it, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so now I am using that bird paper for that bottom left-hand corner, and I liked this ribbon, so I guess that paper that I just cut out was for that. And I think I'm pretty much done with this page for now. I am going to do a second page for this day. And I'm going to use this. It's a chipboard album that I got from We Are Memory Keepers, I think. Let's see. I think it's actually from Fancy Pants. So I decided to use this. I think I used one on an earlier page. I think it was on page 2. Let's see. Yeah, page 2 and 3, or days 2 and 3, I used one of these. And so I thought we'll spice it up a little bit and use some more of these. So I just cut out this red paper and I'm going to use it as the full background for the page. And I'm just going to embellish with a couple pieces of scrap paper. And I'm thinking I'm going to put it that way, but I end up not doing it that way and not using that piece, that second piece of paper, because it kind of looked all wonky. So I cut off another scrap and I just put it there. So I'm going to glue these things down. And then I'm going to use some of these sequins. And I was thinking I would use it right up there at the top left-hand corner, but then I decide, no, I'm going to use it along this side. And here I'm punching out the holes so that it'll fit in the album. And then I'm going to glue down the sequins. And I really like how this page turned out. The simple pages are probably some of my favorites. And here I'm having to unclog it, unclog my, oh goodness, what are the glossy accents? Sorry, I forgot what they were called for a second. And I'm just going to kind of mess with that for a little bit, trying to get that to stay down. The glossy accents probably weren't the best choice for glue for that. So that is my page 12. And now I'm going to move on to 13. And for 13, I'm going to use the back side of that bracket album paper. And for this one, I was thinking I would make it a double page. And so I was going to do the bracket and then the lined paper from the album. So I'm just embellishing the number that I'm going to use. And then I decide that I'm going to back that bracket, the chipboard, on this white American Craft paper. I believe it's American Craft. I think I just got it from Michael's. So I outline it and then I cut it out. And the backs of those album pages were sticky, but they weren't very sticky. I noticed that the papers wouldn't stick on them very well for very long. So I put a little bit more adhesive on the back of the paper. I just used my glue gun. And now here I'm going to punch the holes so that I know where they're at. I would sometimes forget to do that and then I'd be like, oh, dang it. And so now I'm going to start embellishing this page. And I'm thinking I'm going to put the 13 up there in that corner. But then when I go to punch it, I decide maybe I don't want to put it up there in that corner. And I end up putting it there in the middle. And I'm thinking that I will use the back of that snowflake paper as a layer. And I like how that looks. So I'm going to glue that down. And then I'm going to pull out these blue leaf things. I don't know what they are. They're like this plastic wire. The leaf part is like blue and a clear color, and then it has wire attached to it as well. So I'm going to use 2 of the silver leaves, sorry, and then and then one of those for now, and then I'm going to pull an extra one out because it doesn't look like it's symmetrical to me. So here I'm just going to glue them all down. And I pull out a little rhinestone to place there at the end so it doesn't look so awkward with the wire just sticking out there. And since this little embellishment is kind of a little thick and big, I wanted to make sure that it would stay glued on. And so I pulled out my glue gun to glue it down. And this is where I pull out the bottom embellishments. I'm just going to use 3 of those snowflakes. And I'm going to glue them down with my glossy accents. And now my glue gun is ready. So I'm going to glue down the sequin, or not the sequin, sorry, the 2 embellishments there, the rhinestone and the leaf. And the paper was hanging over a little bit, so I was trying to cut it off. And I think I kind of don't do a very good job of it, but it's okay. So now is where I'm thinking I need to add another one of those embellishment leaf things. I don't know what to call those. 3D embellishment leaf? Sure, we'll call it that. So that is that side of the page. And then I decide to pull out another one of these bracket pages. And I'm going to do number 13 on that one. And I'm using the paper as a template to punch out the holes for the album. So I just pull those pieces out of my Crop-A-Dile. And I'm going to keep this page simple. I'm just going to do pretty much the same thing I did on the other page. And since there's those holes in the top and the very bottom that I'm not going to be using, I need to put another white piece of paper on this chipboard album piece. So I just spent some time cutting that out. And then I'm going to glue it on the back. And while I was at it, I decided to cut out the back side of that album page that I was going to use, or not cut it out, but trace it out. I don't know how other people make their mini albums when they have shapes like this, if they I really don't understand, because my pages, the papers that I would cut, even though I would trace it and try to stay inside the line that I traced, it would still be hanging over the edge a little bit, which kind of bothers me. So I don't know what I did wrong. If you've done album pages like this before and you have a tip for me, I would love to hear it. That would be awesome. So I'm just going to embellish the very bottom with 3 of those snowflakes. And then I am going to be done with this layout. So now I'm going to move on to page 14, day 14. And I am cutting out the paper that I traced. And I am going to use the other side, not the bird side. It's got birch trees on that other side of it. I'm thinking I'm going to use that side, but then I decide that I like this side better. And I think that's one of my favorite pattern papers from this kit. So I'm going to glue that down. And then I'm going to back the number on that back side bird paper. So I like having the variety of pages in my album, but next year I think I guess this year, December of 2015, I think I'm just going to keep it plain and simple and just do the pocket pages because those pages were really easy to do and it didn't take a whole lot of time. And also, my book can barely fit all of the 25 pages in there. And I was really hoping to do 31 pages, but since I couldn't even fit 25 pages in there, I had to just stick with the 25 pages. So I think next year I will just keep it plain and simple and do the page protectors with the pockets. So here I'm cutting down that pattern paper and I am going to place the number to the far left of it. Then I'm going to glue it down at the top right there. And I'm thinking about using some sequins, but then I decide to pull out the leaves, those silver leaves. And I'm just going to use one, and then I'm also going to use a couple of buttons. And if you can see on my phone there, I was listening to the paper clipping roundtable. I'm trying to catch up on the episodes because I haven't been listening to it very much lately. And so I thought it would be fun to listen while I scrapbooked these pages. So I put down that wire that has tinsel on it. It's like a really thick tinsel. And then I put the leaf down and I'm going to glue one clear button and one red button at the bottom there. And that is it for this page. So now I'm working on page 15. And for this one, it's going to be really simple. I just wanted this page to be easy peasy for me to do. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to back this number 15 on a paper or just leave it blank. So I'm going to decide to just leave it blank and have it be on the back of that chipboard. I'm going to use this Heidi Swapp teal color shine and do some splatters of paint. And I'm going to do two, I think these are 4x4 squares of pattern paper. And to kind of spice up the papers, I'm going to layer some of this ribbon behind it. I'm going to cut it in half and put one on the right side on the top and then one of the halves on the bottom left side of the other paper. I'm going to use my glossy accents to glue it down. It was having a hard time staying down. So that's why I was using my scissors because it kept sticking to me. So I'm going to glue those papers down right where you see them. And then I'm going to add just a couple of buttons and sequins. And that is it for this page. And I'm going to use my glossy accents to stick all of those things down. Glossy accents is one of my favorites. I love it. So I'm thinking that that's done, but then I have that sequin right there, so I do pick it up and add it down. And then I'm going to do some at the top of that other picture and add the buttons, and I am done. Thanks so much for watching. I will be back hopefully tomorrow with another video. Bye.